Hey, welcome to episode 764 of today's Antidote. Today, we're going to talk about staying the course and the many benefits. And let me just be honest with you. I have no idea what this discussion is going to do because I rarely, if ever, have stayed the course long enough to see any of the benefits. So we'll be lucky enough to learn from that TikTok influencer, Tom Brush, about the benefits of staying the course on today's episode of today's Antidote. That's right. Today's episode of today's Antidote did it again. All that and more coming up shortly.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Good morning, Tom. You TikTok influencer, you?
Yeah, influencer with 250 views.
Ooh. Hey, it all takes is one person to be affected by it, right? And you've made a difference in the world.
Absolutely. No doubt. Well, how are you this morning, Bob?
I am good. A little perky. It's a good morning. A lot going on. We had a lovely discussion before the program, which always inspires me and motivates me. The topic of which we can't discuss, but got some super secret things going on. Right?
Fair enough.
How are you?
You got a little. I'm well. It was fun to watch you do that intro. You got so wound up in it that you just
wound out
back into some habits.
That's it. There's a lot to remember on those intros.
Okay. What all do you need to remember?
You have to remember the episode number. You need to remember the topic. You need to remember the subtopic. You need to remember to mention the name of the program, but not say on today's episode of today's Antidote. And you have to have something witty so that people are interested. That's a lot going on. When I was teaching college courses, it was a lot easier because all you'd have to do is say, okay, it's 8:00. Let's get started. And they had no choice but to get quiet and get started. The internet and, these platforms aren't as, you're not in such control of these platforms as you are of a college classroom.
Sure. I guess they could have chosen not to be quiet.
Maybe I'll start the next one I open with, okay, let's get started. It's 7:00. Boom. And just see how that works.
That might work very well. We'll see.
All right.
Okay, everybody, it's ready to get started. Welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. Each morning of the week, Bob and I have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic is staying the course. We've been talking about your pathway for a little over a month. We'll probably talk for it about 17 weeks. Interesting number. And so our pathway, we're going to talk staying the course, and we're going to discuss the benefits today. Yesterday, we talked about the challenges, which I thought was a really interesting conversation. So if you've missed that, you might want to go back and check it out. It was episode 763. And I think you would find some interesting tidbits in there. And if you're not quite sure what staying the course is, go back and listen to episode 762, which was staying the course, what it means. So as we go through our conversation today, if you have any thoughts or ideas that you would like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments of whatever social media you happen to be following us on, because we know that it'll add value to the show. At the conclusion of our conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you if you happen to be stuck or uncertain and figure out how to take your next step around staying the course and understanding what the benefits are around that. And be on the lookout. There might be a bell ringer moment in the middle of the show. Maybe. We'll see.
I got ready.
It could even be a listener's comments.
Ooh.
Wow. Hadn't thought about that, had you?
No, I hadn't. You're taking the whole bell ringing to a new level.
And Bob is responsible for the bell ringer, so it's all on him. A lot of pressure, Bob. And before we get to that conversation, though, we always share our celebrations. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating the fact that it is a beautiful day. I'm excited. Usually by Wednesdays, I'm a little tired. I'm wound up today. I'm excited. Got lots going on this week, lots of discussions, lots of meetings, lots of exciting stuff with you as we build out things in the background. And it's just been a really powerful week. And it's the first day of a new month. And that's always exciting to me. What's that?
And it's only Wednesday of the
week. It's only Wednesday. That's right. I'm excited.
I like that.
How about you?
February 1st. February 2nd is Groundhog's Day, right?
Correct.
All right. I was thinking it was Groundhog's Day.
Nope. Tomorrow.
So for me, I'm going to go a little bit along with your theme. So yesterday, so one of the things that I do in the summer is I assign girls and women's lacrosse tournaments, club events. And now is about the time that people are starting to get their schedules lined up for what they're going to do. And so yesterday,
the officials for these games.
Correct. And so yesterday, I was able to complete all the registrations for all of my summer events and a few of my fall events, which I think there are a total of, I think there's close to 15.
Wow.
So it was a significant effort to get it all done, get all the information correctly, the links correct. And now I can make sure that officials can start signing up and get ready to go for the start of the season. So I'm celebrating that I completed that task.
Nice. Tom, I'm going to jump in with Edward's comment because I think it'll open the discussion here. If you're not rowing your boat gently down the stream, change your course. What do you say to that as we talk about staying your course and the benefits?
Well, that's interesting. I actually think that I'm going to say that I think that's some feedback that may make you change course before you might be able to see the benefits of staying the course. Because you could be paddling quickly down the stream, or the stream could be moving rapidly and you're still rowing gently.
Right.
Maybe it's not time to change course yet. I don't know. I think to me, that sounds like you've reached a checkpoint and you've made a quick decision about what to do next, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. And I wonder if we've given pause to not just how we're rowing, but a little bit about the results of that. And while results sometimes we can't control, I think they're also interesting to consider before we dive into making any decisions around what to do next.
I would also point out as I parse that you are still moving down the stream. So that would be making progress. Might be not at the pace with which you want. It may be faster than you want, but you're still making progress. And I think as to go into the benefits, one of the things I've seen very often for myself is right at the point the benefits would be coming, I usually like to change course. I get frustrated. I get annoyed. I get tired of doing something. It's over and over and over. It's like, it's not working. And then I move on. So one of the benefits, I think, of staying the course is really seeing something through. And I know that sounds incredibly simplistic, but what I would tell you is I saw that experience in college. When I was taking college courses, there were a couple of college courses I didn't want to take. And I'm sure there's most people who take college courses. There are one or two they're not eager to take. I got into the first night and I'm going to drop this course, except it was required. So I stayed. And after a couple weeks, it actually became valuable. I took a music course that I really didn't think I would like at all. And it really brought me an appreciation to piano playing, to the way music and words are very similar in that they're patterns and sequences. And that if you understand the language of the words, you can understand, you can write. If you understand the language of music, you could write music and be affected by music. And I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't been forced to stay the course. Now, part of being an entrepreneur for me is I don't have the confidence to stay the course. This is something I've been working on. I don't trust myself enough to see things through as much as I could. And it's one of the things I'm really trying to change in the last couple of years, really in the last year. And the way I've been doing it to make sure that's the case is really trying to have people around me like you who will say to me, hey, is this another shiny object, or is this really on your pathway? And I think that one of the benefits that I'm seeing from this is I can be more focused when I'm clear on what the course is. And I have systems in place, like yesterday was a calling day, and I made about 30 calls. And I had a system in place about how I was going to do the calls, what I was going to say in the calls, what I was going to do if I left a message, how I was going to text people if I left a message. And it was, required effort, but it was effortless in the sense that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. And I think that's one of the benefits of staying the course is you're not constantly creating a new system, a new process that may or may not work, and I was telling someone yesterday, I've just changed some software I use. I had like 6 different pieces of software, and I just bought one piece of software that does it all. And it's amazing how much more efficient I am. And I thought that piecemealing it would be cheaper, but it actually was a lot more expensive. It was a lot of, I got to put it here, put it here, put it here, put it here. Now it's all coming into the same place. And it's even reporting out to my taxes so that everything's seamless. And that system gives me the confidence to know, 1, I have the things in place to be effective. 2, I don't have to worry about, I got to make sure I move this to my tax software. I got to move this to this software. And I think that confidence transmits itself when I'm talking to people about what I do. I think when you have systems in place, when you have processes in place, and they're really working because you've stayed the course and you've figured out enough to know what you're doing, then you have the confidence to say to someone, yeah, let me put you on my email list. And when you put them on the list, the drip campaign is actually going to get to them. And it's relevant content, and it might actually achieve the result you're looking for. Versus, let me get your email address. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but let me put it on a little sheet of paper like this. And 3 months from now, I'll see your email address be like, I have no idea why that email address is there, and throw it away. I'm sure many people are thinking that. And as a leader, I found that often staying the course the benefit was the people you were working with started to believe that you understood what you were doing. I remember I worked for a boss about 15, 20 years ago, and they changed course dramatically over a weekend. Like we went from doing something on Friday to not doing it anymore Monday morning. And it really created a whole bunch of upheaval, and it created a lot of, I wonder what's going on. How something's really amiss here because this is a radical shift. Turns out a couple months later, we went back to the same thing we had been doing originally. But the damage was done in that, the rug can get pulled out at any time. And I think that's another benefit of staying the course is you have the opportunity to show people you're really committed. I remember you and I were going to networking events, and we would joke about the one person there who would have a different thing he was selling every time we went to a meeting. And this was like every 6 weeks. And it would be like, gee, I wonder what he sells. And how much credibility as a salesman can he have if he goes from product A to product B to product C to product D? Because how am I supposed to recognize him? He didn't stay the course with any of those. And as a result, he struggled. And I think I've done that in my own way, not with different products, but with the ways I've managed my business at times.
Interesting.
Uh-oh. Interesting always scares me. That usually leads me to the coaching moment.
No, there were a lot of things in there that I thought were valuable. And one of the things you said early on, I'm not sure that I remembered exactly. You were talking about why you don't stay the course. And it was because you get frustrated or bored or, those things that to me are really a judgment thing rather than a learning opportunity. And I think sometimes because we don't stop to understand, we don't have those checkpoints along the way. We talked about that last week. So if you're wondering what a checkpoint is, you might want to go back and listen to one of those episodes. And that it allows you to just be like, That's interesting. Okay, what might I do next? Because I think what happens is, if we're judging along the way, like I talked a little bit about yesterday, is that we get frustrated or we get bored, or we're now making a value judgment on the actions we're taking or the destination that we have, and not taking the opportunity to learn from it. And I think one of the things about staying the course is that it provides you an opportunity to truly learn. And I think that, staying the course doesn't mean forever. It's one of the other reasons why I think putting dates on milestones or checkpoints are critical, and a date on when you want to reach your destination. Not that so that at least you have predetermined where that's going to be, and when you're going to really stop and say, okay, I think I have stayed the course long enough and am not learning anymore. And so maybe now it's time to change course. And, it would be like, okay, if I'm a person who walks around at a networking event, and there's nothing wrong with collecting business cards, if anybody has business cards anymore. So it's nothing wrong with that. And you can continue to stay the course of collecting business cards. The question is, if all they do is sit in a pile on your desk and you never do anything with them, okay, what value are you taking from collecting those business cards? And you say, okay, I'm going to do this for so long, and if I haven't figured out what to do with them, I'm just going to get rid of them, clean it all out, or I'm going to choose a different pathway and now decide to do them a little bit differently. And I think that the opportunity to learn, for me, might be the greatest benefit. Look at that. Might be the most valuable benefit that we can gain. And I think one of the things is it's gained only if we understand that at some point we're going to stop learning. And at that point, we need to consider, have we reached an opportunity or a checkpoint where now we need to make a different decision?
Can I throw some comments in, Tom?
Absolutely.
Susie's with us this morning. Good morning, Susie. Several assessments along those checkpoints. She asked the question.
I would say, well, here's the three that I would do, Susie. This is what Bob and I have tried to focus in on, those checkpoints. What went well? What didn't go as planned? And, sometimes when I share this with people, they get that confused with what didn't go well. This is all about, this is
or
what
went wrong.
Or went wrong, correct.
Yeah. That's what I always hear in my head.
Yes. And this is more about what didn't go as planned. Here's what I planned to do, and here's what went differently. Doesn't mean that it went quote unquote right or went quote unquote wrong. It's just different. So you can learn from that. And what may I consider doing next time? Or what might I consider doing next time? And to me, in those checkpoints, those are all questions that allow you to learn and not judge. What went well is a little bit of a judgment, and yet I think it's an opportunity for us to celebrate.
Yes.
Well, that's why I really like keeping that question in. So those are the three questions I ask myself at any checkpoint. And Tom, then I figure out what's next.
Do you force yourself to answer all three and have at least one item for all three? Because I know I've been doing that.
Absolutely.
Okay. We haven't really said that ever, but to me, the first one is the one that sometimes is most difficult. If I'm frustrated by something, it didn't go as I expected, it's hard to celebrate something. It's hard to go, well, this went as planned. Even if, I remember I was speaking once online. It was like I had no technology problems. And that was a celebration, because there are times when you do. And I wouldn't have thought of that otherwise.
Well, I think the other thing that's always is there to celebrate is that you actually did it. You took the action. So often we think that it's about the result, not celebrating that you took the action and what have you learned from it. And I think that's ties into staying the course. As long as you keep taking actions and learn from them, you're staying the course and you're starting to understand, until you get to that point where you're not learning anything anymore. And then maybe it's time to consider changing your actions. My thought. Thanks for the question, Susie.
I have another comment for you, Tom. I've got Jack, who says, staying the course and even charting the course is challenging for me with multiple revenue streams.
I'm right there with you, Jack.
I was going to say, most of us are, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like as a leader, you're dealing with multiple projects and often multiple teams. It's very rare that you're doing one thing all the time.
And if you're doing one thing all the time, maybe not in terms of revenue streams, in terms of as a leader, you're treating everyone the same. And I know that forever there was a lot of things about as a leader, you need to treat everyone the same. And I think that the tide is turning on that. And I definitely believe that you need to look at each person as an individual and understand them. Same thing with each revenue stream. I think you need to look at them individually and understand them, chart a course for them. And they may have varying checkpoints and may have different destinations. And yet I think it's still a great opportunity for you to consider. I think the key in that situation is, how do you prioritize them? Is that if you can clearly prioritize which revenue stream is number one, number two, number three, then when you have questions that come up about which you should focus on, you can go back to your priorities. I think that's one of the things that we so often don't do. Whether it's with revenue streams or it's with actions that we need to take, because we haven't prioritized them. And so everything is important. And if everything is important, one of my favorite sayings, nothing is important, truly.
And even with our days, we have to do that. You have to prioritize things over the days. We talked this morning before the program about something that I prioritized about today and tomorrow. No regrets. That is the priority, just because that makes sense in the situation. And I think so often we're reactive, not proactive. How many people watching this or listening to this have really prioritized their day and said, today I'm going to do these three things, or this one thing is going to get done today, or no matter what, I'm not leaving my office until I get this done. Or conversely, I'm going to leave my office at 3 p.m. because my son's playing a basketball game and I want to be at that game at 3:30, no matter what. And prioritizing that. So when someone comes at 5:03 and says, hey, we need to have a meeting, I'm sorry, I need to leave. My son's got a game. Can this wait till later? And juggling it around. We tend not to prioritize. And I think that's part of how we involuntarily don't stay the course. If you think about it,
it's voluntarily, because you've made the choice
right,
not to prioritize them. And so you're like, now you're just trying to figure something out. And when you're just trying to figure something out, you get into the woulda, shoulda, couldas.
Right.
Rather than having a guideline or a guidebook to say, well, I made this decision a while ago that this was the priority. It can change. Mm-hmm. And yet at least it allows you to go back and say, when I'm stuck with that, how do I focus? What am I going to focus on? Which is going to take priority? Because again, we all have the same amount of time. It's how we choose to prioritize it. And it's challenging when you have multiple, many of us do, have multiple responsibilities, multiple things multiple destinations that we're trying to achieve. It's challenging. There's no doubt about it. And so I think one of the beauties is trying to keep staying the course and learning. We get the opportunity to figure out how we can do it differently.
It's a great question, Jack. Really appreciate the insight. Tom, are you ready for your one thing?
Not quite yet. Why don't you go ahead?
Ooh, okay. I'm going to go back to what I said a couple minutes ago. Just sort of blurted out. I hadn't really thought about it. But if we don't prioritize, we can't stay the course, because we will get, if you're not rowing downstream, you're going every which way. You might be fighting the battle upstream when you really think you're going downstream and you're not going where you want to go. So I think it's really important to build the priorities around what staying the course looks like. So if you're trying to make, if you're trying to write a proposal today for someone, if that's the priority, then when someone comes and says, hey, I need you to look at this thing, you got to say to them, hey, I'm working on a proposal. I'll get with you when I get that done. If that's the priority, because so often what I find is the external distractions keep me from staying on course. Or More importantly, I allow external distractions to take me away from staying on course. I rarely would shut my door when I worked in an office with other people. I felt like that was a bad idea. But I had a boss who's like, you need to shut your door more often. When I shut the door more often, I got a lot more done. And my to-do list started to go down because I actually got the things done that helped me achieve the results I was looking for in a way that if your door is open and people are distracting you, or, the parallel, my phone rings during the day, or I get another email. I know the people that check their email every time they hear that chime. Oh, got to check my email. And when I counsel them on, hey, why don't you turn off the chime and just check your email when you get to work, right before lunch, maybe after lunch, at the end of the day, they balk at it. Oh, I've got to respond to everything right away. People are looking for me. But when they start to do that, they're amazed at how much more they can accomplish because it blocks the time to actually work on something rather than being responsive to that chime. My hint for the day is turn off that email chime. It's not your friend.
I like that.
Thank you.
I think that's a bell ringer moment.
Okay.
I think that as you were talking about that, it reminded me, and I'm not sure I've ever done this, and I think I might do this.
Uh-oh.
So yesterday, my antidote was around one of the challenges of staying the course was about confidence. And I really think that one of the benefits of staying the course is that if you've chosen to prioritize and if you've chosen to keep taking the actions in an effort to learn, it's going to provide you with more confidence, which is going to allow you to keep moving forward. And I think that, so I would say that staying the course provides benefits confidence, because it has allowed us to keep doing what we were doing, mostly because we made some decisions. We prioritized things. We decided on some actions. We set the goal of how can we keep learning. And so if we're doing that, we're not letting judgment sneak in. We're not letting snap decisions because I'm not sure which is a priority sneak in. We're allowing ourselves to remain confident that this is the pathway that I am on until such point that I'd already determined I'm going to stop and evaluate it. And so I think that, one of the true benefits of staying the course that you've set is it provides confidence.
I like it. Very nice. Susie has a comment to add. Oh, I owe you a bell. So sorry. Susie says, saying no to get more, and I guess more done, to get closer to what you're trying to accomplish, to achieve, to work with other people. I like that she just ended with ... Or as we like to call it, the ellipsis. Ooh, big word.
Bob coming out with the ellipsis. I always wondered what that was called. I think I knew that and I had forgotten it.
There, a little grammar for you.
There you go. I like that. And I'm not sure it's to get more. I almost think it's to stay the course.
But wouldn't that possibly help you get more? If you stay the course, that means you have a vision, you have some clarity around what you're trying to do, and you're discovering things that presumably will help you get closer to that objective. Either you're going to learn things that will drive you there, or you're going to learn things that are taking you the other way, and then you can course correct. Right? So I think you do get more by saying no to things, because if you think of all the bright, shiny objects that get in the way of staying the course, it's saying yes to someone going, hey, I've got this really great networking event. Oh, it's Friday morning at 7:30. I usually go do this at 7:30 Friday. Well, now I'm going to the networking event, even though it's not the right audience, even though it's not the right time, it's not the right location, but someone invited me and I felt like I had to go. Hypothetically, of course.
Of course, hypothetically. Yeah, I'd have to think about more. I like it. And when I first saw it, I was like, I like that. And then as I got thinking about it, it's not that I didn't like it. It was like I was like, are you really getting more? What as I consider from my perspective, or is there something different that just got thinking about saying no. Um, I don't know. I think it allows you to stay confident in what you're doing.
Okay. I like that.
Is that because saying no might have you could also be considered about uh, getting less, having less. I don't know. I got to think more about that. Thank you,
Okay.
Susan, for posting that because that's going to give me some things to ponder this morning as I.
Maybe in the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, you'll do a live that talks about your discussion around that.
Yeah, I have to find some clarity around that first, I think.
We'll wait. We'll wait. We have time.
We pause and wait.
It's there tomorrow, the next day, the day after. But I think it's a great point.
I do too. It's what I love when people put in comments because I have to stop and think about like, I like the comment. I appreciate the comment. And it gives me a chance to learn.
I love. We had Edward, Susie, and Jack all provide comments today. Thank you so much. It really does make the program far more creative and exciting. And I like being, I like walking the tightrope without the safety net. I have to admit, it's my favorite part. Believe it or not.
Are you judging the show without comments?
It feels flat sometimes. Comments, I like other perspectives being brought into it.
I agree with that. I think it just makes the show different.
Okay.
Because that's not a judgment, right? I don't think. I think it's just different.
Okay, fair enough.
Because you're saying it's flat, because I know what you do.
What do I do, Tom?
You walk away from this, but wow, that show was really flat. Why do we do this? And maybe it's just a complete waste of time. And I'm sure there's other things I could be doing that I could generate something else from, and you would spend some
Get out of my head. As we talk about not staying the course.
Interesting how that happened, isn't it? All right, everyone. Bob's getting nervous, so it's time for us to wrap this show up. Thank you so much for your comments, your thoughts, and your ideas. It definitely added value to the show and allowed me to continue to consider.
Can I jump in with one more comment? Edward has a comment. I say and know a lot to make more. The smallest jobs are not productive from the proceeds from one larger job. So he's turning down small jobs to do big jobs.
Sure. Which is the course that he has chosen.
Yeah.
I like it. And he's staying true to that course because he's prioritized those larger events. And one of the challenges I would imagine with that is they don't always come along as quickly as the smaller jobs.
Probably. And Susie jumps in with exactly 2 exclamation marks.
There we go. We've got to the point. Excellent.
Okay. Awesome.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us today, sharing your thoughts and ideas. We greatly appreciate it. If you're not already, I believe all of these people are inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Even Jack
jumps in with agree, Edward. So we've got unanimity.
A unanimous.
No, there's a word unanimity. That doesn't sound right.
Unanimity. You're the grammar guy. Come on.
I need Jack to tell me what the word I'm looking for is. When it's unanimous, unanimous. Yeah. Oh boy. I'm out.
That might be one of my favorite 30 seconds of the show ever.
Oh, well, by all means.
Watching Bob get stuck on a grammar thing. Wow. The guy who brought us ellipsis in the middle of this.
I didn't bring it. It was there before me. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Now pronounce
Jack.
it.
That's the problem. I don't know. Can you pronounce it? Unanimity.
I'm not going there because it's too much fun to watch you try to do it.
I'll have it by tomorrow morning.
There we go. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of our show today. We look forward to seeing you inside our Ring of Renegades today. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time for our next episode of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegade in you, even if you can't say certain words. It's okay. The renegade in me knew there was a word. I knew we'd find the word. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy, and I can't say it enough. Embrace that renegade in you. It pays off.
It certainly does. Go out and make it a great day, everyone. We will see you soon. You gonna try one more time?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to give you the chance if you wanted to.
I got nothing.
Right. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.
Unanimity. That's what it is. There you go. I just looked it up.
Unanimity?
Yes. That's it.